Hello and welcome back to Webcast News. Let's get started. And first for today's video, I just want to get a couple of bits of sports news in. Firstly, football finally returns, well, tonight in England. The Championship, again between Brighton and Forest, is going to happen. And then the Premier League and the other games in the Football League will be tomorrow. Other divisions in foreign countries like Germany, I think France is starting tomorrow, but I think places like Germany, Spain are starting in a couple of weeks' time. But out of interest, if you're watching this video and you are a football fan, let me know in the comment section down below which team you support. And then I have to talk about, as an English cricket fan, the destruction of Australia yesterday. England are already 2-1 up in the Ashes series against Australia, and the fourth test started yesterday at Trent Bridge in Nottingham. England won the toss and put Australia into bat, to which Australia could only muster 60. Yes, you heard me correctly, 60 runs. Nottinghamshire fast bowler Stuart Broad took the most incredible figures I think I've ever seen of 8 wickets, giving up just 15 runs. And then England yesterday ended on 274 for 4, with Joe Root hitting a century and Johnny Bairstow hitting a half century. After yesterday's play, Twitter blew up and pretty much Australians very angry, English taking the mick out of the Australians, and the Wikipedia page for Stuart Broad was changed slightly from is an English cricketer to is a god. However, I checked again this morning and it's actually gone back to what it was. Anyway, now we're out of the sports news, we're getting to some of the other stories, and firstly, North Korea is back in the news, but it's not so bad a reason as it normally is. North Korea have announced that they will be putting their clocks back by 30 minutes on August 15th. And this has been done to commemorate their liberation from the Japanese 70 years ago after the end of World War II. North Korea currently has the same time zone as South Korea and Japan, but North Korea's state news KCNA have said that this is being changed because it is to split away from the Japanese imperialists back 70 years ago and to give North Korea back its normal time standard. However, this isn't the first time that a country has actually changed its time zone. Venezuela in 2007 put their clocks back by 30 minutes as well, but this was to give everyone a fairer amount of sunrise, which is a bit odd. And Venezuela are the only country on their time zone. And then in 2011, Samoa changed to the other side of the time date line, so they actually lost a day in 2011 just so that they could have better communications with Australia and New Zealand, which I suppose is actually probably quite a good reason because Samoa is a very small island and really needs its communication. And now we're through that, I want to get to the main story for today's video. And unfortunately, again, it's a police shooting in America, this time in Seneca, South Carolina. And this involves 19-year-old Zachary Hammond, who was out on a first date with 23-year-old Tori Morton. Now, Seneca police had actually set up a drug buy with Miss Morton, who had 10 grams of marijuana on her. Now, I know this is only being reported now, but this actually took place on July 26th. And seemingly what happens is they try to do the drug buy, they then find that these are undercover police, and it kicks off. In Seneca Police's report that they have published and is available to the public, they do not mention anything about 2 gunshots that happened during this. However, they say the details from the officer's side of the story are in another report, the second report of this, and this is not currently available to the public. Now, Seneca Police are not releasing the name of the officer who shot Miss Hammond because they believe that this will then lead to possible harassment and abuse, but it is being reported that they will announce who the officer is in the next few days. And they also say that this was actually self-defense from the officer because Mr. Hammond was actually driving the car at the officer to try and run him down. The officer then fired 2 shots, and both these shots hit Mr. Hammond, one on the shoulder and one in the torso. However, this is the police's side of the story. The Hammond family then had a private autopsy done on the body, and this concluded that Mr. Hammond had been shot twice in the back, and the second shot was the one that proved fatal, going through his left side, through his chest, and piercing his lungs and heart. However, despite all the controversy of the police saying one thing and the family and the autopsy saying another thing, most people probably don't even know this has happened because there's been very little outrage. And the Hammond family lawyer, Eric Bland, sadly probably has a very good point in what he said. It's sad, but I think the reason is, unfortunately, the media and our government officials have treated the death of an unarmed white teenager differently than they would have if this were a death of an unarmed black teen. And sadly, this is probably true, because anytime an unarmed black person, possibly not even a teen, is killed, it blows up. But now that a white teen has been killed, this has taken until now to even appear in the news. And it happened July 26th, which is, quite a while ago. And seemingly over 10 grams of marijuana that he didn't even own. But then if you take it from the police story of he was trying to run the officer down with a car, then it is just self-defense. But this is why police officers need cameras. A case in Cincinnati recently, the police camera actually solved the entire thing. So surely police cameras are the obvious step to take in America. But without knowing exactly what happened, and unfortunately most likely we'll never find out what actually happened, it's quite difficult to really say anything on this. So I'm just going to have to leave it there with that one. And speaking of leaving it there, that is it for today's video. Hope you have liked it. If you have, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.